Hello, and thanks again for joining me this week. May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We're proud to be one of the most racially diverse jurisdictions in our nation, and that diversity is rooted in the many Asian American and Pacific Islander communities that enrich our quality of life throughout every neighborhood in Montgomery County. During the month of May, we will celebrate the contributions that our AAPI neighbors have made in the past, present, and we anticipate in the future history of Montgomery County. I encourage all residents to join us in honoring all of our AAPI communities this month and throughout the year. This week, the county released the Healthcare Provider's Handbook on Hindu patients to coincide with the start of AAPI Heritage Month. This is the first handbook of its kind in the United States, providing detailed information specifically for Hindu and Jain patients. The guidebook also aims to inform healthcare providers of religious beliefs and traditions practiced by Hindus, as well as dietary needs of Jain patients. It covers a broad range of topics including prayer, maternity services, diet, traditional medicines and remedies, end-of-life issues, care for the elderly, as well as access to county and state resources. May is also Building Safety Month for our Department of Permitting Services. DPS leaders want to remind you that building safety starts at home. I want to talk a little bit about budget considerations. I know the Council is currently reviewing my recommended budget, and I want to mention something that is tremendously important: other post-employment benefits, or OPEB. OPEB is a trust fund that we created about 15 years ago to set aside money to help pay for retirees' health care costs. We've been extremely prudent in allocating money to this fund, and it is now a very healthy size, about $750 million. About 1/3 of that money is from investments we've made, and the fund will continue to grow well with these investments. Our OPEB fund is currently in such good shape that our financial advisors tell us that we can withdraw millions to help pay for retiree health care costs for county employees. To date, we have never used any of the money in OPEB to pay for county's retiree health care costs, even though the county charter says that the fund should be used to pay for either all or part of those health care costs. Instead, all the county share comes from the general fund, meaning the taxpayers. I'm urging the Council to follow the guidance of the financial advisors and to use some of the ever-growing trust fund for its intended purpose, to help cover retiree health care costs, which would reduce the tax burden on county residents. We already do this for the health care costs of the school retirees, and we need to begin doing the same thing for county retirees. It is fiscally prudent and eases the burden on taxpayers, and we hope you will let your council member know that this is something that would be a wise policy decision on the part of the council. In my FY24 recommended budget, I included $246,000 to fund the Office of the People's Counsel. The Office of the People's Counsel was created in the 1990s by then Council member Ike Leggett with the purpose of providing fair and a complete record of land use matters on the behalf of the public interest. It also helped community groups in understanding proposals in zoning and land use and to help them formulate their positions. It functioned until 2010 when the recession hit, and since then it has not been funded by the County Council despite my efforts to restore funding in previous budgets. Now there's a bill recently introduced in the Council that would eliminate the Office of the People's Counsel altogether and replace it with a toothless entity. I've heard from many residents asking that the Office of the People's Counsel be saved from being destroyed and funding be restored because it's an office that levels the playing field. A 2008 report by the Office of Legislative Oversight about this office included interviews with about 50 people, half government and half non-governmental, residents and land use attorneys. Nearly all agreed on the need and importance of the Office of the People's Counsel. Many of our neighboring jurisdictions have similar offices and they have maintained them for years, even while we have not. I want to quote from the Council's recent racial equity and social justice analysis. This is what that analysis says. As advocates for the public interest in land use decisions, offices of People Counsel are uniquely positioned to advocate for the interests of BIPOC and low-income constituents, not typically represented in land use decisions. The analysis also notes that if the Office of the People's Counsel were funded, quote, it could advocate for racial equity and social justice as part of the advocacy for the public interest. And it concludes by recommending that this office be funded. I know that there are many competing budget demands, but this is a small amount of money that produces a large dividend in advocating for and protecting the public interest. Montgomery County got an outstanding turnout for a job fair held on Wednesday at the Silver Spring Civic Building. We need to fill hundreds of current vacancies in the county across a variety of departments. Typically, we open registration for events like this, though it is not required to attend. This time we had to shut down registration early because of the high interest in obtaining a Montgomery County job. For more information about open jobs in general services, human resources, and more than 24 departments, visit us online at work4mcg.com. This comes on the heels of a record low unemployment report from Montgomery County. It's been over 20 years since we saw unemployment dip as low as it has in the last report. It is now 2%, which is below the state and national average. This is an incredible achievement, especially since our unemployment rate was about 8.7% at the beginning of the pandemic. This rebound of our economy did not happen by chance. Our support efforts to assist people who are put out of work, as well as our intentional efforts to grow our economy, are paying off. It is clear by these numbers that the state of our economy is strong, and we're also seeing significant progress on key projects that will only make it stronger. In the last week, we've seen important economic development and affordable housing updates in Silver Spring and Burtonsville. This week, I spent time at the Select USA Summit, which is focused on creating new international and domestic partnerships for areas like Montgomery County, and we had successful meetings with a number of companies. This summit comes as an opportune time on the heels of our successful economic trade mission to Taiwan. I look forward to the opportunities that lie ahead for us, and I remain committed to making sure that our economy is profiting for all, not just the wealthiest. I can't mention progress without talking about affordable housing because the two are crucially linked. This week, we cut the ribbon on a new affordable housing project for seniors. It is named in honor of our previous county executive, Mike Leggett, who served 3 terms as county executive. The Leggett will be home to 267 seniors on the west side of downtown Silver Spring and includes a Holy Cross Hospital-affiliated wellness center and an urgent care facility. It will be located right next to the upcoming County Recreation and Aquatic Center. This is the second of a 3-part plan to revitalize Elizabeth Square. This is an innovative housing project which offers affordable housing options for seniors in a way that prioritizes their well-being and recognizes the importance of community engagement with its proximity to county amenities. It's also a fantastic way to honor former County Executive Mike Leggett, who fought tirelessly to add options in Montgomery County for older adults who no longer need the space of a family home. Under his leadership as County Executive from 2006 to 2018, Montgomery County increased funding for affordable housing and invested in countless countywide measures to improve the quality of life for senior adults. His task force studied the plight of seniors countywide, and his support of the task force's recommendations has helped make meaningful improvements for the senior community. I want to thank the Housing Opportunities Commission for spearheading this project that will mean so much to hundreds of Montgomery County families. So now for this week's update on community health. A big change is coming next week, and one is already upon us. First, let's talk about the end of expanded eligibility for Medicaid. During the pandemic, many more people were able to qualify for Medicaid, but beginning last month, current recipients have been notified that they will need to go through a redetermination process, and they may no longer qualify for Medicaid as eligibility requirements return to pre-pandemic guidelines. The state has been notifying current enrollees of the change, but we want to emphasize this information so that Montgomery County residents know about this significant change. The redeterminations will not happen all at once, but they will happen. If you're a Medicaid recipient, be sure that you contact information is up to date. Confirm your information at www.marylandhealthconnection.gov/check-in. And if you've received renewal letters already, please be sure to respond to them, or you may risk losing your coverage. The U.S. Public Health Emergency Declaration will end next week on May 11th. Residents should know that the county will continue to be a reliable source of vaccinations and testing. Our testing sites will discontinue PCR testing, but they will have rapid tests available and they can help you take that test. 19 library locations will also continue to offer residents free rapid test kits and masks. Currently in Montgomery County, our transmission rate and community threat remain low. I hope our community remains vigilant and up to date with the latest recommendations, which include getting the bivalent vaccine. It's important for me to stay up to date as well. That's why during this week's briefing with the media, I rolled up my sleeve and I took the second bivalent booster shot. I'm now up to 5 and have not dealt with any side effects so far. The latest guidelines for those who are not vaccinated call for 1 bivalent booster shot and not a 2-dose vaccine regimen. That means if you haven't ever had a shot, all you need is 1 shot now. You don't have to go through 2 shots. For those who are immunocompromised or over 65, it may be time for a second booster shot. Travel and tourism are an important part of Montgomery County's economy. We are a hospitality hub with Marriott International, Choice Hotels, and other hospitality companies that service the world. Nearly 20,000 visitor-supported jobs represent 4.4% of all of Montgomery County's workforce. We've always been a destination for both leisure and business travel prior to the pandemic. Montgomery County is the most visited county in Maryland, welcoming over 6.8 million visitors, generating over $1.4 billion in spending in our local economy, with over $86 million in taxes coming in from tourism activities. From arts and cultural institutions such as Strathmore and Glenstone and the American Film Institute, Brookside Gardens, to world-renowned golf courses and hiking trails, as well as an incredible diversity of restaurants and cuisines from some of the best chefs in the world, there is something for everyone in Montgomery County. And we're continuing to build new attractions. One of my favorite new projects that I'm excited to see open this year is the new Crossvines facility in Poolesville. I'm proud of this project because I proposed it while I was still a council member and have been working with the team ever since. Crossvines is a winery. Specifically, it's meant to serve farmers in the Ag Reserve who want to get started in wine, but they're going to start by growing grapes first before they add equipment for processing. Crossvines will provide the equipment for processing the grapes, and Crossvines is a winery. It's also a research farm, an events venue, a dining destination, and a learning hub all in one. Crossvines is going to be a game changer not only for our county but for the state's tourism economy. As we approach the summer, we look forward to a busy travel and tourist season. I'm reminded of how important the industry is to both our local economy and for Maryland. Visitors and residents are encouraged to download and use the Visit MoCo app and use the Adventure Planner to participate in promotions that will result in up to $2,000 in prizes. Campaigns like this are important because they help our local business community and also help put them on the map regionally and internationally. I just returned from a trip to Taiwan and met many people there with ties to the DMV, particularly people with ties to Montgomery County who had lived here, worked here, especially at NIH, and visited Montgomery County in the past. It goes to show how small the world can be and why it's important to showcase the best of what our home has to offer. Finally, I want to thank Ben Cardin. It was bittersweet news this week to learn that Senator Ben Cardin has decided to retire. Senator Cardin paid close attention to Montgomery County and was sincerely interested in our communities. No wall or pretensions affected our relationships with our friend. Whether you knew him for decades or just met him, whether you're a world leader or a regular resident, he always treats people with humanity, dignity, and respect. I want to thank him for his many years of dedicated service and all he's done to make Maryland and Montgomery County a better place. We're going to miss him in the Senate, and I wish him the best in his well-deserved retirement. That's the wrap for today. I hope you have a great week, and I'll be back again next week.